The phone vibrated on the nightstand at 11:47 p.m. One word lit the screen: enjoy. It wasn't meant for me. I stood in the doorway of my bedroom, the door half open, the lamp still on like it was waiting for someone else. The bedspread was disturbed, not messy, arranged, the kind of careful disorder people leave when they think they'll be back. I listened. 2 breaths, not mine. I didn't step forward. I didn't speak. I let the moment bruise itself into memory. The air smelled wrong, familiar, but not mine. A perfume I knew too well. A laugh I had heard since childhood, softened now by secrecy. My heart didn't race. That came later. What arrived first was stillness, the kind that locks your joints and sharpens your hearing, the kind that turns a man into a witness. I watched a shadow move across the hall mirror. A hand reached for a coat. Another hand followed, smaller, practiced. Siblings learn each other's rhythms early. That's how I knew, before I saw her face. She told me it was girls' night. Wine, noise, safe lies. I repeated the story in my head while I sat on the stairs, listening to them whisper like teenagers. My wife, my sister. 2 women braided by blood and vows, unraveling both. Denial tried to rise. I pressed it down. I cataloged instead. The canceled dinners, the shared glances that lasted half a second too long. The way my sister stopped hugging me and started avoiding my eyes. The way my wife flinched when her phone lit up and then smiled when she realized it wasn't me. I had mistaken guilt for stress. I mistook silence for loyalty. They moved past me without seeing me. My sister's hand brushed my shoulder. She smelled like my soap, like my house, like theft. I didn't follow them. I didn't shout. I didn't ask questions that would beg for lies. I went into the bedroom. Their fingerprints were everywhere. Not literal, worse. The indentation on my pillow, the nightstand drawer slightly open, a single hair on my shirt, long and dark, not my wife's. I sat on the edge of the bed and felt something precise click into place. Not heartbreak, resolve. I became invisible. That was the trick. I kissed her good morning. I asked my sister about work. I smiled at family dinners and let them believe they were smarter than me. At night, I listened. Phone records don't lie. Patterns don't improvise. A shared cloud account is a gift to anyone patient enough to wait. I watched timestamps overlap, locations align. I learned how often they met when I was late. I learned the language of emojis meant to erase guilt. I learned how long betrayal can last when everyone assumes blood means boundaries. I installed nothing. I followed nothing. I let them incriminate themselves. The court order came later, for something else. A boundary drawn in ink after a different argument, a different warning. She violated it casually, like rules were for other people, like consequences were negotiable. I stayed calm. Calm as camouflage. I moved money quietly. Joint accounts are fragile things when trust dissolves. I drained them methodically. No drama, no messages, just balance sheets telling the truth. Then I waited. I caught them in my bedroom on a Tuesday, not by surprise, by appointment. I stood in the doorway this time. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't ask why. I held up my phone. A photo, then another. Dates, times, locations. My sister collapsed first. Blood doesn't make you brave. My wife tried to speak. I lifted a finger. She stopped. I asked one question, the only one that mattered. How long? The silence answered for her. I nodded, as if confirming a delivery. Then I handed her the court notice, the violation circled, highlighted, clean. Her face drained. My sister started crying, loud, useless. I felt nothing. That frightened them more. The handcuffs clicked 2 days later. Not my doing, just inevitable. I watched from across the street as order reasserted itself. No shouting, no struggle, just metal closing around wrists that thought they were untouchable. That evening my phone rang.
"If you want to join Thanksgiving, come wash the dishes," my daughter-in-law shouted, sharp with entitlement. I looked out over the Alps from my terrace in Switzerland. The villa was quiet, earned. "Enjoy," I said. I sent one photo. The calls came in waves, 71 times. I didn't answer. Betrayal doesn't scream when it ends. It exhales. I didn't win. I didn't lose. I stepped out of a lie and let it collapse under its own weight. Family is a word people use when they want forgiveness without accountability. I wanted neither. The money was just numbers. The silence was the prize. Somewhere they were explaining themselves. Somewhere they were blaming me. I poured a drink and watched the mountains refuse to care. Blood runs deep. So does clarity. And I chose the one that didn't poison me.